Horror films have been fan favourites for many years, beginning with the classics of the 1920s and the rise of Hammer horror movies in the 50s. The fascination with fear, the paranormal, and gore has only grown with time. But now there are films claiming to be based on real-life events, and with the exception of some artistic flair, the stories presented on film are close to their true counterparts. In this video, we take a look at our top 5 list of true stories behind popular horror films. Let's begin. Number 5. A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a 1984 horror movie written and directed by Wes Craven. The story involves a group of teenagers who are relentlessly hounded and murdered by a malevolent spirit in their dreams. The movie was so successful that it spawned 7 sequels as well as a remake in 2010. Wes Craven has been known to say the story is based on a series of news articles where a large number of Cambodian citizens were dying one by one in their sleep. While no medical explanation has been found for the mass deaths, the event caused such a panic throughout Cambodia that people were terrified to sleep and would go to horrific lengths to stay awake. Number 4. Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. 3 of the most successful thriller or horror movies of our time would not have come to be if not for Edward Gein. Ed Gein was born in 1906 in Plainsfield, Wisconsin. Gein was a shy man who was raised religiously by his mother after the death of his brother and father in the 1940s. Gein suffered a lot with the loss, but it was his mother's death that may have pushed his psyche over the edge. After his mother's passing, he began developing an unhealthy interest in death. He began grave robbing to study body parts, and stories say that he loved children's company and would often babysit the neighbors' children, even bringing his macabre hobbies with him while babysitting. When the children would tell their parents, nobody believed them. It wasn't until 1957 where the truth about Ed Gein was brought to light after the loss of Miss Bernice Worden. Police raided Gein's home on suspicion of his involvement and found Mrs. Worden's remains. 8 other female body parts were found inside his residence, all from different women, including severed heads and masks made of human skin. Gein went on record stating that he intended to utilize the corpse as a costume and was diagnosed with schizophrenia and a number of other psychopathic tendencies. From his background and the acts of violence attributed to him, his overbearing mother and shyness became the basis of the character of Norman Bates, while the collection of body parts and human remains were references cited for the Silence of the Lambs and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 3. The Shining. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado was the inspiration for the hotel in Stephen King's novel and film The Shining. King stayed there with his wife whilst on vacation, and they are known to have stayed in room 217, infamous for its supposed paranormal phenomena and disturbing effects on anyone staying within the room. King's experiences on that stay would prompt the idea of The Shining. Through the years, there have been many other reports from hotel staff and patrons claiming to have experienced paranormal events within the hotel, such as a piano playing at certain times of the night with no one around the instrument at all, and sounds of music and a gathering of people in the main ballroom, only to find it empty upon investigation. Number 2. The Birds. Alfred Hitchcock's film The Birds came out in 1963 and tells the chilling story of the town of Bodega Bay and the unexplained vicious attack on the town's inhabitants by a group of birds. Whilst the story seems to be pure horror fantasy, it is said to be actually based on real-life events of Monterey Bay. For many years now, instances of avian attacks and large groups of birds dying and dropping from the sky have been reported. Experts were confused and could not find a reasonable cause to the events. But years later, a group of scientists found at a certain time of year there was a chemical imbalance occurring during the town's seasonal change of climate, causing the local marine life to display higher than normal levels of toxicity, which was in turn poisoning the birds, causing them to fall from the sky. Number 1. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a film which directly lifted its events from the real-life case of possession of a young girl named Annalise. It is reported that she did in fact fall victim to demonic possession and began displaying the same behaviours shown in the film, such as attacking her loved ones, becoming agitated and enraged in the presence of religious objects, and many other attributes of possession. Her family, convinced that this was a possession and not any kind of illness, enlisted priests from the local church to perform exorcisms and attempt to combat the malevolent being residing within their daughter. Sadly, Annalise eventually died in 1976 of pneumonia after the lengthily drawn-out spiritual battle. So there you have it. That was our top 5 list of true stories behind popular horror films. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check back again for our next video on top 5 signs of a haunting. Until next time.